Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Danny Reed. I'm Director of Sales at Metadata. Been here for about 4 years, and I have a special guest with me, Ani, who's one of our closest agency partners, former customer. And I'll let him give an intro of himself and kind of his journey to starting his own agency and working with Metadata. Ani?
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Hi, everyone. My name's Ani Bisaria, CEO of Bisaria Digital. We're a full service B2B, B2C enterprise SaaS digital marketing agency. Um, I got my start with using metadata at Ring Central. I was a senior manager for marketing there, dictating most of their enterprise and mid market paid social and paid search strategies using metadata, built out that entire function for them, and then broke off after about a year to start my own agency. And our main focus has been on serving metadata clients. And today, I'd just like to talk a little bit about, and with Danny's help, talk a little bit about how exactly we've grown so quickly over the last year using AI, using referrals, quicker strategic insights than the way that agencies usually do it. Um, but yeah, so let's just jump in if that's all right, Danny.
Let's do it. And I think you may be one of the only agencies that does B2B SaaS work and also has a record label side of your business.
Yeah,
So if you talk to Ani, maybe he'll serenade you during his discovery call
that's
with some of his music.
debatable. It depends on your ARR if you hit any kind of song.
um, but no, yeah, to kick off this concept, because we have short time today, but we want to try and make this concise for everybody. Everybody's trying to figure out ways to use AI in marketing and sales across the board. And I think I learned about this just maybe a month, 2 months ago. We know each other for a while now, of how you've set up GPT in order to make it more consistent, more concise, faster, so you can deploy. And this is part of your story of like starting the agency after being a metadata customer, building on top of us. But also, this is separate from just using metadata, using your own like philosophy of how do I use AI to grow a services business faster? And it's allowed
Yeah,
you to go from 1, 2 employees to 20, 25 in a year, like very
yeah,
crazy fast growth.
yeah.
And so, anything to add to that, Ani?
Yeah, I mean, the concept that I'm going to talk about today and the way that we've adjusted our internal operations over the last year, it's not particularly unheard of. It's not super novel, but it's just a different way of adapting it. And that concept is enterprise AI, right? Which is, you know, GPT's only been around for the past since December of last year. But if you look it up, you'll see enterprise AI is this concept of building a chat GPT for your company, right? And what we're doing is saying, let's build those types of internal chatbots for our agency, but then on a separate layer, let's build it for each of our clients as an internal tool as an agency for us to use so we can pop out faster strategic insights, so we can make decisions around creative messaging, um, operational decisions, onboard different folks to accounts. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today because, you know, with traditional account management for an enterprise client, it's incredibly difficult to make sure that everyone on the agency side has all the pieces of nuanced information that come through. Everything from, the campaign naming structure to a specific caveat in how the way Marketo works, or why we're choosing to run this campaign today with this budget because there's some issue going on between departments at the client, right? All these nuances, when you're an enterprise company, it's hard to communicate that to the agency and then for the agency to truly have everyone who's working on the account understand it and consider it when they're making decisions or when they're working on the account. So it's a little bit about the issue and sort of what we're trying to build today. So with that, let me just dive into our system, which we use something called modules. So, what is a module, right? A module, in essence, is just think of it as a bucket of information. It's a repository or container of specific data designed to capture a particular facet of our client's operations, or meant to ensure that every detail, no matter how minute, is cataloged. And this is an internal bucket of information. So this could be, for example, call or Slack transcripts. let's just get every email, every Slack conversation between one-to-ones, between the shared channels on Slack, one-to-one emails, and let's just bucket it into one big box of
I
information.
think one big way a lot of people can use that specifically is a lot of marketers, especially when they're new, they're trying to figure out what are the value props to our customers. Easiest
Hmm.
way for them to go figure that out is yes, pick up the phone and call customers, but go to Gong, go to Fireflies, go to
Yep.
whatever you're using to record calls, and then you can go in and understand key ways that they phrase their problem. And this
Hmm.
is a way to train one module, one area of info on just that. So it's an expert at what are our customer
Yes.
value props, and then we use that in one bucket, and then we're going to create other buckets to make them mini experts in what
On
they do.
that specific field.
Right.
Yeah.
So like your budget, how has it been spent on LinkedIn in the past year? Like what were some of the things that
Messaging that worked really well with a specific
copy,
audience.
creative, right,
Yeah, customer use cases, product releases,
right.
specific just, and it's guys, it's just raw data in a container. That's all it is. It's only really useful once you split it up into these different buckets, and then you ask GPT and Bard, which is what we do. We ask GPT and Bard to self summarize all of these different modules on a daily basis, and we're asking it to self summarize based off of the internal policies that I've written with my team on what we deem to be important for each of these modules,
And
right?
I think the reason for this is for if you don't have GPT experience, if you try and go prompt GPT and you give it multiple things in one prompt to say, it usually can't figure out how to prioritize it that gets you the outcome that you, the human, are looking
Hmm.
for. And so with this, you're training mini experts to then get them to talk to each other. So they have almost like a battle or like a conversation
Yeah.
of this is what's important to me, this is what's important to me, and here's how we're going to arrive at the results. And just that one change makes a big difference in terms of the quality of the output that you get to use and then roll out in however you're trying to use it in your marketing strategy.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, anyone who's ever spent time trying to get a specific answer out of GPT with a very unique set of inputs, you know that you have to spend a good amount of time educating it on all of the context around your question. What we're saying is let's have a repository of context for every single small subject matter related to a client, and then let's separately have a list of priorities for GPT and BART to understand when we ask questions to those specific modules, which is an example of what you'll see here, right?
Yeah.
On this slide, it says, hey, let's pop in some new data from our latest campaign. Let me ask a question around messaging and copy suggestions for a specific persona for a campaign that I want to run only from this November to December. And what color should the creatives be based off of historical campaign analysis? And then
Yeah.
how much money should I spend on that specific campaign because I know that my competitors, uh, because in the competitor bidding module, I can see that they're spending XYZ amount of money on these keywords, right? So it allows us to reference specific modules so that we can ask deeply complicated questions. And then when we have that set of policies that says, hey, prioritize XYZ, prioritize MQL over, the cost per click, we can get these results back that give us rapid strategic insights, right? Obviously, we're QAing all of this, right? We're double checking all this so that we don't get any hallucinated answers from
And
GPT.
Ani, I want to say too, like there's obviously today's just a 15-minute session. It's an
Yeah,
introductory to everybody. I think what I've seen as the most fascinating result of this is when I introduced you to a good friend of mine, Eric. You guys partnered on this, and
yeah,
you created Hybrid AI, which is the process of doing this for creatives, whether it be
yeah,
for ads or website. And I think you have an example of how you guys did that for somebody, and they did a very quick case study in return because I haven't
yeah.
seen anybody else take this approach or have this level of quantity of how many creatives you can produce.
Yeah, thanks for cutting me off there because I can talk about modules forever. Essentially, what we're going to do really quickly is we're going to make a quick shift. We have understood the modules and sort of our contextual understanding. What we're doing now is we're taking that same concept and we're building on top of it and applying those learnings to creatives and developing creatives for our clients for advertising. And so what we've done is we've started to use ChatGPT um, alongside Midjourney, which is more image development. I'm not going to get into that right now. But what we've done is we've used ChatGPT, Midjourney, and those modules that we talked about to give us historical insights to start producing in mass hundreds of variations of single ad concepts with small, minute um, differentiators between them. So you're taking the A/B testing concept of creative and messaging on a creative to a whole new scale. And so let me give you a quick example in this case study that we did with a client of ours called Champify. Essentially, Champify, they're a great company, similar concept to User Gems, surfacing job changes so that you can go after um, previous decision makers who have changed jobs to sell your product. But what we did was we said we're going to develop these three concepts for paid social advertising. We built the modules, we learned about their competitors, we learned about the bidding, we learned about their product, and we came up with these three ad concepts that we were going to run. Customer quote, um, benefits of the product, and or how the product works. That's that snowball one on the left side there, and then a product comparison, right? We built these three concepts, and then we went away, and within 72 hours, we used ChatGPT and Bard, or ChatGPT, Bard, and Midjourney to pop out 100 design variations of those three concepts. Everything from the coloring of the CTA block to the sizing to the way that the person was facing to the boldness of the text, the background color, to the shape of the little bubbles. 100 variations. We then hyper segmented those using metadata against sales audiences, against operations audiences, against marketing audiences, different functions and seniorities, right? From there, we tested those 100 variations. The system's automatically optimizing each of those small variants for each of the audience members. And then from there, you get the awesome results of a 9% CTR and a $1 CPC. And I'd like to point out that the audiences were all enterprise B2B companies. We were only targeting director and up within the United States. And through the learnings that we got using our modules, we were able to develop the initial concepts for the creatives, and then the 100 variations using metadata. For anyone who's used the tool, they know that obviously this is an expanded way to use that platform. But using the 100 variations, we were able to really, really maximize the optimizer and the testing that's built into metadata to get these results.
I love it. And I'm getting the flashing Oscar lights that we got to wrap
That
up. And
was a lot.
so
Yeah.
if I had to, no, it's perfect. Like, I think that's a dollar CPC on LinkedIn, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'll vouch for Ani for the 7 customers he has with us that are deploying this. Everybody has a 100% renewal rate with metadata. So we have to wrap. We appreciate y'all watching. If you have other questions on this, feel free, reach out to me, reach out to Ani, and we'd be happy to have more of a discussion around it. But thank you for watching. Thanks
Yeah,
for
I'll
watching
put up
today.
yeah,
And
just a
honestly,
quick note.
that's the final thought.
Yeah, quick note. I will put up an extended version of this presentation along with my notes for each slide up on the website so you can read more about it. But yeah, as Danny said, if you'd like to learn more about it or if you'd like to work with us, our contact information will be below.
Bye, everybody.